just going. He was gone. That one leg, he was gone. But none of us learned how to just walk like that. It took a little bit, right? I don't remember because obviously I was a little Juanito. But I'm sure I got up and thinking I was all that when I was little, because I've seen others do it. And I got up and I just ate it. I'm sure there's times where I fell face first. I'm sure there's times where I fell butt first. I'm sure there's times where I fell side first. I fell everywhere. I was falling because I was trying to move. Somebody say, trying to move. I didn't want to stay still. I didn't want to stay in the same position. I didn't want to stay in the same spot. I didn't want to sit in the same pew for the rest of my life. I didn't want to just come to church and be a part of a church and just be here and nothing ever happens or nothing ever comes from my life. I hope I'm speaking to a generation that will say, look, I'm not interested in just coming to a church. I'm not interested in just sitting in a pew. There's something inside of me. I want to do something for God. I want to be effective. I want to be used for the kingdom. I don't want to sit around. If others want to do that, that's on you. But as for me, I got something inside of me. I got to reach somebody. I got to touch somebody. I got to go somewhere. I'm not interested in just sitting in a pew. Can you imagine? I'm giving an example tonight, something that we can all just kind of take home with us. When you think about it, in this journey of life, every one of us are young, for the most part, I'm sure. The older one, the younger one, but you're still young. And you think about it. Can you imagine if that baby, you as a baby, you never learned how to walk. You never learned how to crawl. You never learned how to move. You have to wait for somebody to carry you. All you could do was just stretch out your arms and wait for somebody to pick you up and somebody to carry you. A lot of us do that. In our spiritual lives, we're still babies. God is requiring growth. God is wanting us to get up a little bit. God is requiring us to move a little bit. But what some of us are doing, waiting for the person next to us. You take me. You worship. You praise. Let the youth pastor do it. Right. Let him handle it. Somebody's got to grow up. Is this all right tonight? Come on. I didn't come to spoon feed you. I'm sorry if you wanted the youth pastor to just rub your neck or something. No, homie, don't play that. Homie does not play that. I've come to give you something that you can take home. I've come to give you something that you can apply to your life and say, look, I'm not waiting for anybody else to lift their hands. I don't need somebody to pick me up. I can make my way to Jesus. I can make my way in prayer. I can make my way in prayer. Somebody help me. I can make my way to Him. I'm not going to rely on a mom, on a dad. I'm not going to rely on a youth pastor or a bishop. What I need is my own walk with God. What I need is my own desire and application of His Word in my life. And if we understand this tonight, if we are going to do something, if we are going to go somewhere, if it's going to require movement, then understand and know there will always be something, there will always be someone to push you back. There will always be. Can you imagine Peter? Think about it with me tonight. I'm not going to be long, but just stay with me. Follow me. Can you imagine Peter? There's a storm and they're seeing Jesus and He's walking towards them. They didn't even know who He was at first. Can you imagine what the other disciples were thinking? Dude, sit down. He's standing up. Jesus, if that is you, bid me to come. You know, I can see the other disciples, they're trying to get water out of the boat. And Peter's like, if that's you, Lord, tell me to come. He was like that super spiritual friend you got. In a way. He said, just bid me to come. Can you imagine the disciples are like, dude, grab a bucket, throw the water out of the boat. We're going to sing. Hello, Jesus, tell me to come. Sit down, Pete. Shut up. What are you doing? You're throwing the ship off. I don't know how big it was. If it was like a boat, when I throw the balance off, my mind's just running with this. When I see Peter, this is the JQB. I can just see Peter just standing up. And Peter was a fisherman. We'll get into that. Peter was a fisherman. So I can imagine, he's kind of like a big dude. Just like to fish. Trout, bass, some of you don't even know what that is. I can care less too. But check it out. I see he's a big old fisherman. Jesus, if that's you, come. Can you imagine all the things that he's hearing in his ear? Isaac, man, sit down, dude. They're pulling on his guy dress. They're pulling on. Sit down, dude. Come on, Pete. Man, what if it's not Jesus? Well, if it's him, he's going to tell me to come. And so, Jesus in the storm, Jesus is cool, you know, Jesus is smooth. Just gliding. Wasn't even walking on the water. I can just see him gliding. I don't know how you see him. I just see him just like a moonwalk, but forward. That'll preach. No, I'm just kidding. Can you imagine? I see him just like gliding, just like hair blowing in the wind. Manly though. And he said, come. Did you get it? You can put it back on the screen. Would you put that back on the screen? What we read back? And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water. So Peter's about to make some movement. Somebody say movement. Movement. Nobody's walked on water except for gliding Jesus. And look, listen. You expect our Jesus just to break it down, right? He says one word. And Jesus said, come. Why is that significant to your life? Why is that important? Jesus didn't say, well, Peter, are you wearing a life jacket? Pete, do you have your floaties on? Are you prepared for the waves that will come roaring? We're going somewhere. Are you ready for the water that you're going to feel? No, he didn't ask him if he had his floaties on. He didn't ask him, well, is anybody else coming, Peter? He said one word. Come. Some of you are waiting for God to give you this big reason why you can or cannot be used. Some of you, God has been waiting for you just to make some movement. God has been waiting for you to put some action. Don't wait for your youth pastor. Don't wait for your mom. Don't wait for your dad. Don't try to justify why you're not doing anything on somebody else. At the end of the day, it comes down to you. And Jesus has one word for some of you that are ready. He says, come. There's going to be people in the church that tell you, dude, shut up. This ain't for you, Daniel. Sit down, Gilbert. This isn't about you. What are you doing, Jovita? Who do you think you are? You should be bailing water too. You want to sink? You want to die? No, Jesus. I need to do something. He was the only one, obviously. The only one standing up. And Jesus had one word for him. He said, come. And you ready with me? Peter was come down out of the ship. He got out of the boat. He walked on the water. Somebody say he walked on the water. To go to Jesus. The next verse. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid. He got his eye off the one that told him to come. When you're wanting to do something for God, you cannot look. Listen to me. You cannot look and set your eyes on how bad other things are. You cannot allow your focus to drift. You cannot allow your eyes to drift to the left, to the right, and say, well, I wonder what they're doing. I wonder what it's like over there. When you have made up your mind to get out and walk on the water, and Jesus has said, come, you better make up in your mind, this is for real. This is for real. I'm not going to get distracted. I'm not going to allow anything to get in the way. And the Bible says he saw the wind boisterous. It was just the wind. And he was afraid and began to sink. And he cried, Lord, save me. Listen, Peter walks on water. Outside of Jesus, the only one. But yet, the majority of the time, Mitchell and Timothy, Jason, what you're going to hear about Peter is how he failed. The majority of the time, Anthony, what you're going to hear is, yeah, Peter walked on water, but he fell. And they focus on the fact that he failed. Whereas I like to focus on the fact that he got out of the boat and actually walked on it. There's going to be people in your life that get in your ear and get in your mind and tell you, oh, yeah, you tried to, but you can't make it. Yeah, you want to do this, but you know you don't have what it takes. You know where you come from. You know your reputation. You know what people know you as and know you by. You already failed. I want somebody to hear me tonight. I may have said this at times passing and very loud, but listen. If I am going to fall, if you and I are going to fall, others are going to be pushing us back. Others are going to do their best to shut you up, to silence you. Others are going to do their best to try to get you away from what God has called you to do. But if I fall, I want to make sure, Malachi, that I fall forward. If I fall, I'm going to make sure that I'm making some kind of progress. If I am to fall, Kia, I want to make sure that I am falling in the direction of Him. If I am going to fail, if I'm going to make a mistake, if I'm going to do something and I'm not going to make it all the way, I want to make sure, Adrian, that it is in the direction of God. What direction are you and I headed? What direction are you making your mistakes in? Is it forward or is it backward? Well, I'm surrounded by my family and they're telling me this. I'm the only one living for God. He didn't tell you you had to be perfect. But if you're going to progress, you are going to fall. If you're going to try, you are going to fall. But you've got to make up in your mind, when I fall, I'm going to fall forward.
Amen, amen.
When you look at the life of Peter, he gave everything. You talk about a man that fell forward. You talk a man that, oh yeah, he had his issues. Yeah, he had his problems just like I do. He had some mistakes just like I make. But what stands out about him? He was a fisherman and it was his source of income. He gives all that away and says, I'm going to follow Jesus. You talk about a man that had his priorities right at that point. I'm going after the one that I love. I'm going after the one that has set me free, if you will, nowadays. I am going after the one that has called me out. I am going after the one whose grace and mercy has been applied to my life. I'm going after the one that has set me apart. He fell forward. It was Peter in the garden that day when they came to take Jesus. Some will say, well, Peter had such an anger problem. He was so quick to strike. You know the story. The men come and Peter pulls out a sword and cuts off the ear of one of the men there. Oh, he had an anger problem. There were some issues with Peter. He was falling forward, Anthony. His priority was, I've got to protect God. Well, some will say, well, what a mistake, what an issue. No, he was falling forward. It might be something that he had some issues with deep down inside. There may be some things that others will look at and say, wow, he's got some things to clean up. But the fact of the matter is, the direction he was going was towards God. Yes, I have issues. Yes, I've got problems. Yes, I've got struggles. But I promise you this, any direction that I go in, it is not going to be the things that take me away from God. It is going to be the things that lead me to Him. I cannot tell you tonight everything you're going to go through. I cannot tell you tonight everybody that's going to come your way. But I can promise you this, when you fall forward, and He will always be there to pick you up. Do not be afraid to move forward. Do not be afraid to progress. Do not be afraid to be the only one in your youth ministry. Do not be afraid to be the only one in your church. Do not be afraid to be the only one in your high school. Do not be afraid to be the only one in your family. He's looking for somebody that will say, I'll try. I know I'll fall. I know I'll mess up my knees. I know I'll have to dust off my shirt. But I'm still going to progress. I'm still going to go forward. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit. It was Peter that was given the keys to the kingdom. It was Peter that preaches this Acts 2:38 message. It was Peter, the dude with issues, the guy with problems, the guy that failed. But it was with forward progress. I'm coming to a close tonight. It was Peter. You can look at the life of David. You can do character studies if you like. You can look at the life of David. He was the king, and we know him for his praise. We know him for his worship. You talk about the one that was anointed king. He was running for his life. And when he's there and he's set in the position of authority, he has a man killed. He commits adultery and he commits murder. Yet he's the king. And we talk about him. If I can dance like David, if I can worship like David. That same David was the one that killed the giants. That same David, you talk about issues, it's there. It's there. But if I fall, I'm going to fall forward. Scott, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to at times fall. I am going at times to do some things that I wish I wouldn't have done. I wouldn't have reacted that way. But I can promise you this, when I fall, I'm going to make progression. It's going to be protecting God. It's going to be protecting my relationship with God. It's going to be protecting those that are there and trying to help facilitate the move of God in my life.